Come, sit with me for a while. Let me tell you about my childhood in Bethlehem, a small town that once nestled quietly under the vast Judean sky. I was 10 years old then, the son of the local innkeeper, a man known for his hearty laugh and generous spirit. Our inn wasn't much, just a modest establishment with a handful of rooms and a stable out back, but it was home, and it was the center of my world. Life in Bethlehem was simple. The days began with the crowing of roosters and the soft glow of dawn, stretching over the rolling hills. I would wake to the scent of fresh bread baking in the oven, my mother already bustling about the kitchen. The aroma would fill the entire inn, beckoning guests and family alike together around our long wooden table. "Good morning, sleepyhead," my father would tease, ruffling my hair as I stumbled into the room. His hands were rough from years of labor, but his touch was always gentle. He taught me the value of hard work, often saying, "A well-lived day is a reward in itself." I didn't always understand what he meant, but I felt the warmth behind his words. Our town was a tapestry of familiar faces and stories. There was old Samuel, the carpenter, who could craft anything from a simple stool to a grand table fit for a king. He often let me watch as he worked, the rhythmic sound of his chisel against wood echoing like a heartbeat. "Wood has a memory," he'd say. "Treat it kindly, and it will last a lifetime." Then there was Miriam, the weaver, whose vibrant fabrics brought color to our otherwise dusty streets. She had a cat named Zephyr, a mischievous creature that liked to chase the chickens and steal scraps from the market stalls. Miriam would laugh and shake her head. "That cat has more adventure in him than sense," she'd say. The marketplace was the heart of Bethlehem. On market days, the town transformed into a lively hub of activity. Merchants shouted out their wares, fresh figs, olives, spices from distant lands. The air was thick with the mingling scents of baked goods, fragrant oils, and the ever-present dust kicked up by countless sandaled feet. I loved weaving through the crowds, the sounds of haggling voices and laughter filling my ears. One afternoon, as I was helping my father repair a fence, we noticed an unusual number of travelers passing through town. The Roman decree for a census had been issued, and people were returning to their ancestral homes to be counted. Our inn quickly filled to capacity, every room occupied, and still, the travelers kept coming. "Father, where will all these people stay?" I asked, watching as another weary couple approached our door. "We'll find space," he replied with a sigh, wiping the sweat from his brow. "It's our duty to offer shelter, even if it's just a spot in the stable." That evening, a young man named Joseph and his expectant wife, Mary, arrived. There was a calmness about them, a quiet dignity that set them apart. With no rooms left, my father offered them the stable. I remember feeling a pang of embarrassment at the humble accommodations, but they accepted with gracious smiles. The night was unusually still, the sky clear and sprinkled with stars. As I lay in bed, I could hear the soft murmur of voices from the stable and the occasional gentle lowing of the oxen. There was something different about that night, something I couldn't quite place. The next morning, the town buzzed with whispers. A baby had been born in our stable. Shepherds from the nearby fields spoke of angelic visions, announcing the birth of a savior. I didn't understand much of it, but I felt a strange excitement in the air. Curious, I snuck away to the stable. Peering through the wooden slats, I saw Mary cradling her newborn son. Her face was illuminated by a shaft of sunlight filtering through the roof, her expression serene and full of love. Joseph stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. The baby, wrapped in swaddling cloths, slept peacefully. Would you like to meet him? Mary's voice startled me. She had noticed me watching. I didn't mean to intrude, I stammered, stepping into the stable. You're not intruding, Joseph assured me with a warm smile. I approached cautiously. The scent of fresh hay mingled with the faint aroma of my mother's bread, still lingering in my clothes. As I gazed at the infant, a sense of awe washed over me. He was just a baby, but there was something profound in his tiny features. What's his name? I asked softly. Jesus, Mary replied. I reached out a finger, and the baby grasped it with surprising strength. His skin was soft, his grip firm. A giggle escaped my lips. He's strong, I said. Mary and Joseph exchanged a knowing glance. Yes, Joseph nodded. He is. Over the next few days, Bethlehem seemed to hold its breath. The census brought more people, and our inn remained bustling. Yet amidst the chaos, there was a sense of peace emanating from the stable. Shepherds came to visit, bringing stories of heavenly hosts and singing praises. My father, a practical man, listened with a mixture of skepticism and wonder. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, my father spoke thoughtfully. There's something special about that child, he mused. I can't quite put my finger on it. My mother smiled gently. Perhaps he's meant for great things. Life went on, but the memory of that night lingered. Jesus and his family stayed for a while before continuing their journey. I often thought about them, wondering where they had gone and what their future held. As the years passed, I grew into my role at the inn. I took on more responsibilities, learning the art of hospitality from my parents. The lessons I learned weren't just about running an inn, they were about kindness, generosity, and the importance of community. I recall one particularly busy day, when a traveler arrived, exhausted and destitute. He had nothing to offer for a room. Remembering my father's teachings, I offered him shelter in the stable. That night, he told me tales of distant lands, of mountains that touched the sky and seas that stretched beyond the horizon. His stories ignited a desire in me to see more of the world, yet I felt a deep-rooted connection to Bethlehem. Our town weathered its share of hardships. Roman taxes weighed heavily on us, and there were times when food was scarce. But even in difficult times, the community came together. We shared what we had, supported one another, and found joy in simple pleasures, a shared meal, stories by the fire, the laughter of children playing in the streets. One of my fondest memories is of the annual Harvest Festival. The entire town gathered in the open square, tables laden with fruits, breads, and cheeses. Music filled the air, the rhythmic beat of drums accompanied by the melodic strains of lyres and flutes. We danced under the stars, the worries of daily life forgotten for a time. I remember dancing with Leah, the baker's daughter. Her eyes sparkled like the morning dew, and her laughter was infectious. "You're stepping on my toes," she teased as we stumbled through the steps. "Maybe it's your toes getting in the way," I retorted with a grin. Those moments were fleeting but precious. They taught me to cherish the present, to find joy in the here and now. As I reflect on my childhood, I realize how much those early experiences shaped me. The simplicity of life in Bethlehem, the strength of our community, and the profound events that unfolded around us, all these threads wove together to form the fabric of who I became. I often think back to that night in the stable, the gentle grasp of baby Jesus' hand, and the serene expression on Mary's face. At the time, I didn't fully comprehend the significance of those moments. But now, I see how they were a part of something much larger, a tapestry of events that would ripple through history. My father once told me, greatness often comes from humble beginnings. I believe he was right. Our small town, our modest inn, and the simple acts of kindness we offered, they all played a part in a greater story. Now, as I share these memories with you, I feel a sense of nostalgia and warmth. Life was not always easy, but it was rich with experiences that taught me the value of family, community, and compassion. The lessons I learned in Bethlehem have stayed with me throughout my life. So, my friend, thank you for sitting with me and allowing me to transport you back to those days. May we both carry forward the simplicity, joy, and love that characterized that time and place. And perhaps, in our own ways, we can continue to weave threads into the grand tapestry of life, just as we did in Bethlehem all those years ago.